Hello ladies and gentle ladies, welcome back to another railroad development stream. Today we're going to be continuing on with the run configurations, the same as we were yesterday. And yeah, we're just going to go ahead and get started. So, where were we yesterday? Well, I don't think we actually got it to work, did we? Oh no, we did. We did get it to work, but the issue was we had the screen flash and then it would just completely freeze. So since then I've done a lot. And when I say a lot, I mean a lot. I've done a lot. So here's where we're at right now. We have our icons up here. They are now colored as well, which is nice. We also have this one, which kind of works as well. That brings that up. And I can now press edit configuration and it does come up. Kind of. I say kind of because first of all, you see it did the white flash, which we don't want. And second of all, apparently there's now 3 Gradle tasks, which isn't correct. If I go into the actual folder that it's opened, we can have a look at the run configurations, and I can show you that there is not 3 Gradle tasks, and I don't know why it thinks there is 3. So I'm going to try and find that now. I have to remember exactly where the folder is. So currently I've just got the 1.21 tutorial mod open, so in theory we should even be able to get it to run the game. Hypothetically, that's basically the goal of today, at least getting the friggin' Minecraft to run, right? It should be pretty simple once we get this fixed, but we do have to actually get it fixed first. Okay, so here we go. So here is the .railroad folder, and we have the run configs in here, and you can see that, oh, there is 3. Why is there 3? I only ever created 1. Okay, interesting. That's not what I expected, because I only ever created 1. But I can just delete these, like that. There you go. And if I click on this one, you see it does now also open up in this right pane, and everything's fine except for this JDK selector down here, which is a little bit buggy. In terms of like the actual combo box itself, but that's a minor issue. We can probably fix that a little bit later on. But for the most part, things work. So I can now also press the plus button, and I can choose to add one as well. I think only Gradle will work at the moment because the other ones have other issues. But hypothetically, if I change this to run client and I press OK. Interesting. So there still are. Oh, and now it's crashed again. Yeah, so I've actually been trying to figure this out with Gemini. Just trying to figure out why the hell it's doing this, because I don't know why it's crashing. Let me look at the run configs. What has it done? Yeah, it hasn't actually removed any of the ones I told it to remove, which is interesting. I don't know why that's the case, because if we look at what do we need to look at? We need to look at the part that removes the run configuration. So that will be in the it is in the editor pane. Actually, we're in the right place. We should have a remove button. There you go. Which calls remove run configuration, which should, in theory, remove the run configuration. But it's clearly not doing that. I don't know why that's the case. Oh, it's only removing it from the... Oh, I see. Okay. What's the difference between OK and apply? OK will close the window as well. So I would show you, but I can't because it's crashing. Yeah, okay. I know why that hasn't removed it, because when it saves, it only saves the currently open one rather than saving all of them, which is a little bit jank, and it probably shouldn't do that. So if we look for the apply button, will be the best one to go for now, and then we can do the other one in a second. So you see here that it does just... Yeah, it only applies the currently selected one, which is okay, but also not necessarily ideal. So we ideally need to actually go through all of them. Okay, what we could do is we could say, okay, I have an idea. So let's do it here. Okay, let's take all of the configurations and just apply the form data. So that means doing this basically, which means that it will at least save the data correctly where it needs to be, and then afterwards we can update the entire list of them. I think that's the best way to do this. So if we go configurations, which are somewhere, tree view pane dot get configurations, there it is. So for configuration in there, then we'll do configuration.data, and that will just apply the configuration. I could probably remove that data call there, but that's fine. That will do for now. So that will apply them, and then what we could do here, instead of updating the run configuration like that, let's instead just do I kind of just want to like replace all the configurations. So I think let's do that. Let's have a like replace run configurations method in here. And effectively that will just, oops. Yeah, it will do that. Yeah, pretty much. That's private, so we can't access that outside of here, but that's perfectly reasonable. So if we just put this here, we'll give it a Java doc, because as I said before, I'm trying to Java doc as many things as I can. And hopefully that will work. Now we do need to do that for the OK button as well, but that's fine. So OK button, it will just be exactly the same. The only difference you can see here is that it hides the window afterwards, which is fine. So hopefully this might even fix our issue. Maybe. I don't know. I'm going to quickly actually delete all of the run configurations before it goes ahead and loads them. Just so that we can start on a completely blank slate and not have to deal with anything weird. So this is what it shows by default. I need to fix the console at some point, because it's really annoying being blinding white, but oh well. So yeah, there's no run configuration by default. So if we go ahead and edit them, we can now choose to create a configuration. We'll choose a Gradle one, and we just need to give it a name. I don't know why this name and this name is different, by the way. That's kind of a jank thing that I need to fix at some point, but let's just put in build. It doesn't really matter. But if we do that and then press apply, hopefully that means, okay, so that is now correctly in our run config. So now let's see what happens if I press apply again. Just make sure that doesn't like double up or anything. Okay, it hasn't. Good. I think that will be fine then. So if we press OK, and then, yeah, in theory that should have updated this, but it hasn't, which is kind of annoying. Like, really annoying, actually. That's because if we look at the run combo box or something, yeah, this. if we look for the items, yeah, see, that relies on project.run configurations, but unfortunately this isn't like an observable list, so we can't just like listen to it. We can't know when it changes necessarily, which is annoying. So what we could do is we could make it an observable list at the very top and then just delegate to that list. But I think what I want to do for now... Okay, have I actually just managed to fix this? No, I haven't. It still breaks sometimes. Yeah, I don't know why it's doing this. I'm going to try something real quick. I'm going to do a thread dump. So let's do... Ooh, what's the command called? Is it JPS? Yes, JPS-L, that's the one. And then if I find railroad and then do JStack, we can now see the entire thread dump. So we can see exactly what it's doing. And let me actually, I can do that to a file, right? How do you do that in Windows? Does this work in Windows? I don't know. Does that work? You can do that. Okay, I wasn't sure if Windows had that or not. They do, that's nice. So now I actually have to find that because that's gone in my user folder. Where are you? I can't find it. Should be in my user folder. Ah, there it is. Okay. Okay, what I'm going to do with this thread dump is I'm actually just going to put it in the railroad folder. So let me close railroad real quick. Okay, I'm going to put it there. And I'm going to get Gemini to try and figure it out from the thread dump. So before we do that, I just quickly want to show you why I think it's the split pane. So if we go down to the JavaFX thread, so not this one, because that's the launcher thread. This is the renderer thread, so not that one. Application thread, I think this is the one. So you can see in here, it's in the split pane, which I think is quite weird. And that suggests to me that it's stuck somewhere trying to lay out the split pane. But there's no calls to my code in here anywhere, so it's nothing I've done, which makes me think this is possibly a bug with JavaFX. I really hope that's not the case, but it might be. So what I'm gonna do, the issue still persists. I have created a, I think it's at threaddump.txt file that you can use, that you can read to try and figure out what's happening. Okay. So it should now actually go ahead and read that thread dump file. And hopefully it will figure it out, but I'm pretty sure it's a JavaFX bug, and if that is the case, I don't know how we're going to fix it. So I kind of hope that's not the case. It may involve updating JavaFX because we are on quite an old version. If we look in the build.gradle, we can see we are on, yeah, version 21. And I think the latest is like 24. Let's find out. I'm going to do a quick Google search. Oh no, the latest is 25.0. 25. Wait, no. Yeah, 25.0.1. Albeit though, I think that is actually for Java 25. Think. But the latest is technically 26-EA plus 15, but I think that's actually for Java 25. I don't know. Ah, yes. Okay. There is an updated version for Java 21, though, which is 21.0.9. So technically, we should be able to bump this up to 21.0.9. I'm hesitant to do that, though, because I don't know what that will break. What is this thing? What is that going to do? That's not going to do anything. This is kind of what annoys me about AI sometimes. But that's not going to do anything. Okay, and I can't even let it do a git diff, because when it does a git diff, it just uses up all of its context. Because, I mean, if I show you the git logs, you'll see exactly why. So I can't let it do a git diff, unfortunately. It thinks this is a necessary diagnostic step. I mean, we can try it, right? That's, I guess, the best thing we can do. It will either work or it won't. I don't think it will do anything, because I didn't even used to have the scroll pane. But we're gonna try it. Okay, so initial one has worked, but it's inconsistent. It doesn't work all the time. So, and the fact that it's not. Yeah, it hasn't done anything. Okay, I'm actually going to try and update JavaFX, and I don't know, maybe that will fix something. Oh, yeah, don't do that. Oh, is it? Yeah, okay. I'm going to try. You never know. It might work. Let's see if this actually I mean, this is something that should be done anyways, really. We should have done this a long time ago, but we just haven't, I guess. Okay, so let me try around again. See what happens. Because it is entirely possible that this is a bug that was fixed in newer versions, but I think that's improbable. I guess you never know, which is why we're about to find out. Okay, so if we go edit, no, it's not fixed. That didn't change anything. So I'm actually going to undo that because not relevant to this PR. So okay, which doesn't lead us with much left. The issue still occurred. I'm also going to tell it to stop trying to read the git diff, because it's never going to work. Also, you can stop trying to get diff, because that will be way too long. And maybe it will remember that, but usually it doesn't, to be honest. But you never know. Let's see. If this doesn't work, or if it can't figure it out, I might try and do that entire part from scratch, maybe. Like that entire just UI thing. But that's not going to make a difference. What's that going to do? My hypothesis is that the list of run configurations fetched in a background thread file is being modified by another thread concurrently, while the I mean, I think that's highly improbable, because if we look at the editor pane, so it's talking about project.git run. So it's talking about this right here. I don't really see how this could be modified before it reaches here. I think that's incredibly improbable. I guess it's not impossible, but sure, you can try. Bro, I literally told it to say, this is exactly what I mean. It's gonna keep trying. Should I just let it do it? The thing is, it's gonna use up all of my context if I let it do this. It's gonna use up literally every single token. No, I'm not gonna let it do that. Okay. Let's try again, but I sincerely do not see how that's going to make a difference. We might be better off just rewriting basically the entire editor pane from scratch. Might be a better option. So I'm gonna go edit again, and yeah, same issue is still present. Yeah. So I'm gonna well, you know, fine. I'll leave it like that just so it doesn't complain at me. Issue is still present. Let's see what it says now. I do wonder if there's ever a point in which AI just gives up, but I don't think it does. I think it will just keep trying things that get less and less probable. Let's see. This is the last chance I'm gonna give it. If it can't figure it out, then we're gonna go ahead and write it from scratch. Okay. My inability to see the form and run. What? No, it's not. You can literally do that. Refactor. I will modify the constructor to add the details container to the split pane immediately upon creation. Okay. I don't think that's going to make a difference either. I will remove the calls to now deleted ensure details container attached. I don't think that'll make a difference because I wrote that method literally because it wasn't working. So I don't see the correlation. But we'll give it the one last shot. And if it can't do it, then we're going to do it. Also, for those curious why I'm using Gemini and not ChatGPT Codex, it's because Codex can't figure it out. I've tried many times. I mean, I could try like Claude Code or something, but like you basically have to pay for that, so I'm not doing that. And this is why I don't use Gemini, because sometimes it doesn't even know how to write to the file, which is quite sad. Is it gonna do it? Or, you know, how long are we gonna be sat here for? I'm not sitting here all day waiting for it to do this, so if it can't figure it out, I'll give it until, I'll give it until it's ran for 4 minutes. That should be plenty enough time. Oh, there you go. So what's it trying to do? Yeah, that's not going to do anything. I'm going to be real with you. That's not going to do anything. It thinks that's going to work. I'm pretty sure that's not going to do anything. But we'll try. This is the last chance. Okay, so edit. Nope, it hasn't worked. As soon as it flashes white, you know it hasn't worked, because that means it hasn't been able to build the UI. So let's start undoing. I guess I actually don't need to undo because we're going to write it from scratch. Okay, let's, in that case, go ahead and edit this pane. So let's go IDE. Okay, first of all, let me close this because we don't need that anymore. And let me close all of these because we don't care about those anymore. In fact, maybe I should delete this because I think this is going to be an issue. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna start yeeting some things. That's the best way to do this, and we're just gonna have to go from scratch, to be honest. So, details pane, bye-bye. We're gonna have to go editor pane. We're gonna have to go tree view, and we're gonna have to probably remove some things. Honestly, maybe just doing the tree view from scratch as well might be worth doing. Yeah, I think we'll just go with that from scratch as well. I'm just going to take all of this. I'm going to plonk it in Notepad so that I can kind of reference it if I need to. And then I'm literally, boom, gone. Okay, so here we go. Let's create the editor pane first. So run configuration editor pane. Okay, first of all, this is a VBox. That's fine. That won't be a problem. Then we're going to want the constructor. That's going to be pretty much exactly the same. So that will take in a project. And I'm going to go ahead and set that project as a field so that we can access it later on. I actually didn't do this last time, but it probably is something I want to do. Okay, let's add the style class. So I'm going to go ahead and copy that across because I know for a fact that's not going to do anything. And also the top button bar, I'm going to copy that across because, yeah, that wants me to create an initialize UI method. That's probably a good idea rather than completely filling up the constructor. So we will in fact do that. So I'm going to look for my create top button bar method, which will take me a second to find it. Found it. Okay. So this will be exactly the same. And thus it's not going to make a difference keeping that in there. Likewise with the add context menu, that's going to be exactly the same. So I'm going to copy that across. And I'm actually going to rename this to create add context menu. Okay. So this should be perfectly fine because, yeah, that's not going to cause an issue. Remove button, that will be fine. Okay. So after that, this is where things started to break. So after that, we had the split pane. So I'm going to go bar split pane is equal to a new split pane. Okay, and I'm going to set that to 0.3, and then I am going to go ahead and add that style class. Yes. Okay, and I'm not going to add that to the children this time until I've added both of the children to the split pane. I think that's probably the best way to do this. So that's the split pane then, and then that means that the next one is going to be the tree view. So yeah, okay, so let's do var tree view is equal to a new run configuration tree view, and then we're going to add that to the split pane, and then we want to do, looking at if there's anything else I've missed with that. I'm looking for the method that created the tree view before, because I remember there was a bunch of stuff I had to put on it. Okay, another thing I will do actually, whilst I'm here, is I'm going to create the empty state pane, and I'm actually going to give that, in fact, yeah, let's make it always have that. So actually, instead of the split pane even, we're not even going to do this. We're just going to create the empty state, and that's going to cover the entire thing as like an initial thing. I think that's probably the best way to do this actually. So empty state pane, and then what we can do is we can add that, and then that means the next one is actually the bottom pane, so which is the buttons. Now I've just got to find that, which is here. So go ahead and create this. If we're going in order, then that needs to be down here. Okay, so things are going to get a little bit complicated here. Okay, I think let's actually store the run configurations in this class. So let's have a private final observable list of a run configuration. Configurations is equal to fx collections dot observable array list. That one. And then what that means is that we can actually go through configurations like that. And then we can replace those like that. So configurations. That just becomes a little bit easier to deal with, right? Hello, Fortnite. Welcome to the stream. Okay, the next thing is the run action box, but to be honest, I'm gonna just not add that for now. And we'll come back to that later, because otherwise that's gonna massively increase the complexity of this class. So we're gonna give that a little bit of a break. So that is the bottom button bar. So bottom button bar, add the bottom button bar. Bottom button bar. That is a tongue twister and a half. How's the progress? I'm finally back to the streams after my PC broke itself. The progress is interesting. Let's just go with interesting, I think. Yeah, it's happening. It's happening. is what I will say. Let's... You know what? I'm actually not going to do this. I think it would be better if the run configurations happens asynchronously, right? Just because git run configurations does have to go through all of this. The thing is, I really want to store the run configurations in here as like in memory. Because if I don't do that, you know what? We need to have a run configuration manager. And then we can just have a reference to the manager in the project. And then that also means that we don't have to have all of this inside the project class. It can just live inside its own manager class. And that means we don't have to store it in there. That'll be a lot easier. Let's do that actually. So let's create a run configuration manager. And then in here, we're going to have a private final observable list of run configuration. Configurations is equal to fx collections dot observable array list, like that. And then we could have this possibly have its own reference to the project as well. So like a private final project. That way it can kind of reference the project if it needs to. Which it will need to, because it will need the actual path as well. Or it needs the data store. So admittedly, it could probably just take in the data store, but yeah. We also have this build thing in here. Eventually, I'm going to have a build manager as well, so that won't need to be in here. But for now, that does need to be in here. So let's create this in here. And I'm going to rename this method because this will no longer be... Well, first of all, that we get project.getDataStore. And this will be this project.getPath, like that. And this will instead, first of all, make that a var, which is the data store. I don't really like that. That's a bit too long. Okay, that'll be fine for now, I guess. Sure. Okay, so I want this to not be called git run configurations. I want this to be read run configurations, meaning that this will directly read the run configurations from the disk, and then instead of returning that, because I don't think it should necessarily return it, I think it should actually set it instead. So if we do this.configurations.clear, the problem with that is that will cause an update. But I also can't use set all, right? Or can I? I actually can, because that just clears it and adds them. Let me check actually. Let's go into the implementation of this and see if it does actually do that. Because I want it to ideally be a single update. If we go like, I don't know, this one. Yes, okay, that's actually fantastic. So it clears it, adds them, and then, yeah, okay, that's good. Because I didn't want it to make multiple changes. So that's actually really good. That's perfect. Okay, so that adds all of those. yeah. The other thing we could do here, actually, just to save it, I guess, a little bit, is to just get the size of that, which will just default initialize that array to be the size of this, which may end up being too big, but that's perfectly fine. And populates the configuration list. Okay. So the only problem with calling set all is that is going to be an entire update, right? So it means that the entire list will update rather than it just adding the ones that have changed or removing the ones that have been removed or that kind of thing. So that is just something, I guess, that's worth noting. Okay, so yeah, I want this to be a thing, so that can use a getter. That will just allow us to actually get those configurations. Okay, let's now delete that because we don't need that anymore. And then let's do this. So we can now find a way to... I think this should probably be private, maybe? I think so. And then this is just we rename this to run configurations, just so that then that method is called get. Should it be that though? I guess not. We'll just call it get configurations then. And then I guess this can be get configurations by get configuration by name, and then this can be read configurations, which is a little bit better because it's clear that they're going to be run configurations because that's the name of the class. So there's no need to overstate that everywhere else. And what else do we need? So that gets rid of that one. This one removes a run configuration. So that is a method we're going to want, of course. It also does not like this. That's just because that needs to be... Oh, never mind. That's because that's there. Okay. That's fine then. So that gets a configuration by name. And then this one will remove a configuration. Like that. This will be get configurations. This will be configuration. And then this will be write configurations. Why did it do that? That's not necessary, right? I think we can just do this and then just have a listener on this list, right? So that means that when this list is updated, then it will just write to the file. That would be significantly better than having to call that method a billion times, right? So I think we'll do that. So we're going to want this one as well. Admittedly, this will be extremely similar. So if this.configurations.contains run configuration or an exception, this.configuration.add. Yeah, I want to add it so that they're in the right order. I don't really have like an ordering thing yet, but we can come back to that. Yeah, that's fine. Hey, did you see they are planning to deobfuscate Minecraft for 1.22? Yes, I have seen that. And in actual fact, it's not for 1.22. It's actually for 1.21. 11, which is kind of crazy. But yes, I have seen, and it doesn't really change anything, to be honest. So it is what it is. Okay, update run configuration. This one is interesting because we have to find a way to like figure out what is an update. The problem is we can't use the name as the key because the name can be updated. The name isn't like a unique identifier or anything. The only way possibly would be to just have a UUID for each run configuration, which I guess could work. I just don't necessarily know if that's a good idea for that to do that. I don't know. I mean, names are unique. But see, really updating would require you to input an old value, or at least it should do. But the problem is that's not going to be viable because we're not going to have access to the old value when we're calling this method. So maybe we just ditch this method completely and just have add configuration and remove configuration and just be done with that. Like this one honestly could return that. I think that's perfectly reasonable. Which, yeah, and then you know at least if that's happening or not, right? Yeah, I don't think we need an update run configuration method. That doesn't really make sense. Maybe we will store a UUID in the run configuration. I think that's probably the best way to go. And that way we can actually do something based on a UUID, right? Yeah, that can be like that, I guess. And then that just means that in here we have to do JSON add property UUID, and then just do the exact same thing here. So then we do UUID like that. Okay. Okay, and then I guess with that now in place, we could now feasibly create an update method, right? So we could do update run configuration. Run configuration, which would then basically grab the existing configuration with that UUID. So we can say int index is equal this dot configurations. Actually, let's create a private int get index by UUID. Yeah, basically this, which will be UUID. So what that would do is that would just go through each one. If the configurations.UUID is equal to the passed in UUID, then it just returns that index. I will just rename this to index. This could probably be public as well. There's no reason for it not to be. It's probably not going to be used outside of this class, but there's no reason for it to not be public, right? And then we can create a public void update configuration, which will pass in a run configuration, and then that will just grab the index, and then it will set that index to be that configuration. So that will go ahead and do basically what we want it to do. Like that. And I mean, set technically does return the element. I don't necessarily know if it should do that in this method. I don't think that's really necessary, to be honest. I guess it could. Sure. Maybe if we wanted the previous one, then that would work. Then I guess we just... Well, we have two choices here. We either return it or we throw. I think we should just return null. Yeah, this is correctly not null. And then this method is actually nullable. Like that. And then we can also simplify this down to a simple ternary statement as well. Okay. So that's now update configuration. And then the only thing we have now in here, we have replace run configurations, which we don't need anymore. Just quite frankly not necessary. And then we have write run configurations, which we will want. So let's go down here. Write run configurations. This will do this.project.getDataStore, and that will write that. Let me just create a string run configurations file, and then we can just plonk that in there. Okay. We might as well add some documentation to this as well. Not that it's strictly necessary, but this won't actually need to take that in though, because I could just use desktop configurations. But okay, just check this is fine. So that reads it. I'm just thinking it might be better to just simplify this a little bit and say, like, if present, then what we can go ahead and do is do this. That's probably a better way to do that. So this will be the JSON array. That just simplifies that code a little bit. And yeah, that's fine. Okay. So the only time in theory we should need to read it is there. And then what we can do is we can do this.configurations.addListener. And basically when there is a change, we can cast this to a list change listener. Change. Then what we can do is we can go ahead and write the run configurations. Now, I don't think this is necessary. Oh, I guess it kind of is, right? I mean, can I just do this, I guess? Or, is there a way to, like... Like I don't want to do this because that will cause it to update for every single change, which isn't correct. I just want to do like one update. I can't like. I guess I can just do this, right? I can't get rid of this, can I? No. I'm curious actually, what does change.next actually do? If I go to implementations, let's say this one, I guess. Like, does it actually physically do anything? No. All it does is increments the cursor. Okay. So there's actually no need for that then. That can just be simplified down to that. Okay, fantastic. So obviously we have a ton of errors now. So what we need to do is we need to go into the project class. And let's just make sure we don't have anything left over down here, which we do. So it's a good job I checked. Let's go up to the top and let's create a at getter private final run configuration manager, which will be the run configuration manager, and then that will just take in this as the class. Admittedly though, I am gonna do that in the constructor just so that I know the data store has been created, because otherwise the data store might not have been created, which might cause us issues. So that just allows us to do that. And then all that means is that in here we can do project.git run configuration manager, and then I can just do git configurations. Now, yeah, I'm just going to do add all, I think. Yeah, because the configurations that are going to be in here are going to be the edited configurations, and then only when it's applied will those changes propagate to the actual configuration manager. I'm considering possibly renaming this to run config manager. I think that's probably better, just because otherwise that was a little bit long. Yeah, so then we can do that, which is fine. Now git configurations will just return it will just return this list, so that's fine. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So in theory that should be mostly what we want, right? Only thing we need to do here, we need to get the selected run configuration. So I think that's probably also worth having be a property in here, as an object property, run configuration, which is the selected configuration, which is equal to a new simple object property. That you can actually pass things into this, I learned today. I don't know what they are for, like why you do that, I don't know, but I think you can do it apparently. Yes, that's good to know. So here, when I do remove run configuration, what that should do is it should get the selected one and then just remove that from there. And then basically set the selected configuration to null. I don't know if that's necessarily true. I don't think it should set it to be null. Right? I think it should just set it to be configurations.is empty. If it's empty, then null. Otherwise, just get the first configuration, right? And then another thing it would be good to do whilst we're here would be to say remove button dot disabled property dot. Can we not bind that? Oh, disable property dot bind, and then we can bind that to is null. Yeah, so if there's no selection, then it will be disabled, basically. And one thing I will quickly do is just put this at the bottom, just to have some consistency. In fact, I'm not going to put that at the bottom. I'm going to put all of these at the very bottom. I assume that's why. There you go. Okay. So these are all fine. What it might be good to do would be to make a method that creates this button, just for simplicity's sake, rather than any other reason. So I think we can do that. Create. What should I call them? Top bar button, which will have the, yeah, none of them have a localization key, so I think we can just do an icon like that, and then I can just replace all of these to use those icons, basically. So this will just become not that one. This one will become create top button bar button, which will pass that in, and then get rid of all of that, and that's all it will be. So all of these will just get rid of all of that, all of that, all of that, and then this will become that. Get rid of that, get rid of that, get rid of that. This just cleans it up quite a lot doing this. Boom. Okay. That just makes that a lot easier to read, in my opinion. And, well, honestly, like, all of these, apart from this one, should have this. Kind of a shame, actually, because otherwise I would just put that in the method, but because, in fact, add folder as well doesn't have that. But copy does. Yeah, so basically add and add folder won't have those, won't be disabled if there's no selection, but copy, rename, and remove should all be disabled if nothing is selected. I think that's fine. Okay, so next thing is this. So this calls create run configuration. Let's see what that used to do. Create run configuration. Okay, so that actually went ahead and created it, and then Yeah, just added it to the tree view pane and then proceeded to select it, right? I think that's basically what we want it to still do. I don't see why it would do anything different. So let's create one of these. That's not quite right. So this actually needs to be well, I kind of see why it's trying to do that, and I think it kind of probably should do that. Yeah. Let's make it do that. I think that's correct. So that will create the data, and then that will be L1A10.localize. Get local. In fact, no, we should just do data.getName. Like that. Okay. That's fine. We'll come back to these in a moment. Come back to those. So then that adds the configuration and it just selects it. So that's fine. So this, we'll come back to that. OK button just needs to cause it to write, to be honest. So we need to do project.get run config manager, and we just need to update them all. Now, I think we should have a method like maybe like send updated list or send updated configurations, and then we can just do the logic for that like in this class. I think that's a better option. So let's come down to here, and yeah, basically we want to set them all. Or do we? I mean, do we just want to set them all, or should we? Yeah, I think we can just set them all, actually. That way it's just like a single update that all of them changed. Sure. That's fine. Okay. That just does that. One thing it might be worth doing, instead of having the project as a thing in here, might be to just have the manager in here instead. Right? Like, unless these used no, this actually does need the project to create the data, because it needs the project path and stuff. Okay, that's fine. Same thing here then. That's fine. Okay, can I do this? I mean, there's only 2 occurrences though, so that isn't really necessary. Okay, so the next thing is just the details pane then, right? I think so. Details pane and the tree view. The tree view really is going to be the big pain in the butts. We are also going to want run actions, but we'll come back to those later, because that's going to be a pain. Okay. Okay, fine. We'll do the details pane then. So what we want to do is we want to add a listener on this, right? Or do we? No, I guess we want to add it on the selected configuration. Yeah. Okay. Or do we? Wait, let's think about this, actually. So, when we initialize the UI, by default, it's just like the empty UI. So, in fact, what we'll do is comment these out. Let's get this to compile and run, and then we can see this UI actually exist. I think that's a good start. So let's do that. So let's do project.run configuration manager dot remove configuration. Okay. So what does that do? Just okay, yeah, that's fine. We don't have pinning yet, that's not a thing. Now editor pane. That will need to be a thing. What does that do? That selects run configuration. Oh, I see. Okay. Right. So, yeah. Yeah. So the problem here, and I think this is probably why most of the problems are happening, is it tries to show the window and then instantly select a configuration. I guess that actually should be fine though. If I do this, if I get rid of all of this, so that it just becomes this, editor pane.select configuration, get rid of this, get rid of this, that means it will happen synchronously. So if I then call select configuration, that will just do that. And then basically what that should do later on, not right now, is in here we will have a listener and it will listen to when that changes. And when that changes, it will then proceed to add the tree view and the details pane. That's what it should do. But we can come back to that because we don't need that right this second. We do have some errors up here though, which is project.getRun configuration is empty. What we can do here is we can do run configurations combo box, and I think we can set the items to project.get configurations. And that should just bind to that. And then if basically this, the items, is not empty, then it will just select the first item. The only problem with that is that that's going to select an item before... Oh no, I guess that's fine, actually. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. That shouldn't cause a problem. Okay, and then this should only happen if project.get run config manager .get configurations is empty. Because then if it's empty, then it sets the text of the combo box to be no run configurations. Else it sets it to be edit run configurations. That's fine. Okay, what is this? That's just a list cell. Okay. We'll probably need to come back to that later on as well. And then this needs to be what? project dot get run configuration by name, which passes in the ring. It would probably be better off to use the UUID here. Yeah. But that one, and that we actually kind of can't do that now that I think about it. We have the key function, but we can't. We got the button cell, and then we got the cell factory. Actually, maybe you can. So if object is null, then it gives it that, else it's the UUID. And then this will just get the... Yeah, we need to get configuration by that, basically. Only problem is that does need to be a string, so I will have to do to string. And then this will have to be UUID.FromString. We can actually invert this one though. Like that. And then we can try get the UUID. We should probably do something with the exception as well, just like note that it happened, probably. At some point I want to implement like a fatal logging level so that we have one error fatal. Because sometimes like this is an error, but it's not like a fatal error, right? So this should really be like an error, and then we have a fatal that we use for actual errors, but we don't have anything like that at the moment. Okay, so this needs to exist. Okay, and then get configuration by name, which I think we have somewhere. We can just get rid of that. Okay, and then let's put this somewhere easier to deal with, and then let's create a method for that. And let's note that this is nullable, and this is technically nullable, I think. Right? If it's null, yeah, it is technically nullable. Even though it would be weird to pass null in, but like that is technically nullable. Okay. That would be fine. We're going to here. Let's just make sure that I'm pretty sure it is, but if we check, yeah, that does set text item.name. That's fine. Okay. Just wanted to make sure that's what they did. And I think it does the same in here. Yes, it does. Okay, good. So that would be fine then. That won't cause us any problems. Okay, so I think we can now test what we have. And hopefully it should work. And then we'll go from there. Because then we can start doing the tree view and stuff. I've missed something. Apparently. Project.getRunConfiguration.stream. What is this? What is this? Oh, this is to check that it doesn't already exist by that name, but I don't really care about that anymore. I guess we could make a method in here that basically says whether or not a certain combination of the two would be allowed. Like if we do a public boolean can accept configuration with a or yeah, we can take in the name, configuration name, string name, and then we can also pass in the run configuration type, which is the type. And then we can basically do a none match to say that the name does not match and the type does not match. Yeah, that's fine, being honest. That's fine. So then basically all we need to do here is we need to do project.get run config manager dot can accept configuration name, and then the type, which is get type. Actually, let's just say is duplicate name. Checks if a configuration name is a duplicate within the same. Yeah, that's better. Because then we don't have to invert this if check, right? Because if we had to invert it, then it would always be inverted, so there would be no point. But that's better. Okay, now let's try and run again. That should fix all of the issues. Unless I've forgotten one, but I don't think I have. Yep, it has compiled. Okay. It's good. So let's open this. Okay. So. Oh, interesting. Yeah, we should probably set a size for this, shouldn't we? That would be a good idea. I think let's do that. So if we go into, we'll have to go into the IDE to do this actually. And I have to find the new scene. There we go. And then we can just hit the min size. And I think let's just basically copy what it does by default. Not this one. I think it's in Window Manager. Yeah, this. Let's actually public. Let's create a thing for that actually, because that will help a lot. Let's do a public. What do I even call it? Like, I guess a rectangle 2D? Calculate preferred window bounds. Okay, maybe not a rectangle 2D, because that requires an X, Y, and a width or height. So what else can I have? Like, do we even have like a vector 2? We actually do. Funnily enough, there's even one in com.sun. which I don't know necessarily that we should be using. But, I mean, we'll see if it works or not. It might not. Calculate preferred window size. Okay, and then we can just do the exact same thing here now. So we can do that. And then... Oh. Min. So that's the min. Oh, I see. We ideally want a Vec 4D then. Yeah, which will be the min and then the max. Min width, min height, yeah, that's correct. So then we can do window sizes, we can do window width, window height, and then min like that. And then boom, boom. Okay, let's actually just put these directly in there, because otherwise that's weird. So there we go. Window width and window height. You can just get rid of those completely. I kind of want to make a method that does that now, though. Yeah, I'm going to do that. Public void apply preferred size. That'll be fine. And then all I have to do then is I have to do apply preferred size to primary stage, which makes that a lot easier. I mean, I could even make this a Vec 60. Actually, a Vec 60 doesn't exist, so it would have to be a vector 6. But then I could also have the max as well, but I'm not going to worry about that. Or should I do that? No, let's not do that. Because someone might have multiple monitors, and they might want it to, like, go across multiple monitors. I don't know why you would want that, but, like, there's no reason to disallow that. I'm going to create a method then in the actual window builder, which allows me to say preferred size, or apply preferred size. Create apply preferred size. I can't apply it to the builder though. I guess I can calculate the preferred size and then just set them like that, right? Nice. So then if I run this again, we should now see that that will be ideally the preferred size. So, oh, it didn't like that. Not access because, yeah. Damn, because it's com.sun. Okay. Do we not have any math library? That's a shame, isn't it? Vector. Yeah, we have this. I don't know what this is from or what it's for, but I don't particularly want to use it because I'm not sure what it's from. Can I download sources for this or no? Is that doing anything? Hello? IntelliJ? Can you download, please? No? Okay. What the hell is this? What the hell? I mean, I guess I could just use a vector 4. I don't know, like, exactly what that is, but sure, we can do that. So if I just do a vector 4, I assume it then wants the type like that. Yeah. And then we can do vector 4. And it doesn't like that because that wants way more arguments. Expected 11 arguments? What the fuck? Okay, this is not an actual vector. This isn't a math vector, this is a list vector, which is not what we want. Okay. What's a good math library, chat? Does anyone know? We're gonna want one later on anyways. So it'd be good to get a good one now. What does Minecraft use nowadays? They use oh my god, what's it called? It has like matrices and stuff. I can't think of what it's called. Java. Oh, Jommel. Do they still use Jommel? And Jommel is technically meant for like OpenGL, but there's no reason why it can't be used elsewhere as well. In fact, you can even use Jommel with JavaFX, which is interesting. I think we'll just use Jommel. I think that's fine. Yeah, we'll just use Jommel. I don't know if Minecraft uses Jommel or not. I remember they changed their math library to something, but I don't remember what they changed it to. So we'll just grab the latest, which I'm gonna have to try and figure out. Hopefully it's on Maven repository. Jommel? Yes, it is. Good. Okay. Okay, I got it. So build.gradle. Doesn't really matter where it goes. I guess we'll just put it there. I don't know why there's a space in between these ones. I don't know if I intentionally put that there or not, but there you go, it's gone now. Okay, so hopefully I didn't have to download anything. Okay, Minecraft must be using that then. If I haven't had to download anything for that, Minecraft must be already using that. So that means that now we can just return a vector 4 or a vec 4 f. No? Wait. Has that not worked? Vector vec 4 I? Hello? Jommel? Do I need more than Jommel? Do I need, because there's also Jommel primitives, Jommel extensions, but I thought Jommel by itself should be enough. Interesting. I feel like that should work. Unless it hasn't, like, reloaded properly or something. Like 4. I mean, there's nothing from Jommel here. So that kind of suggests to me that it hasn't added correctly for some reason. What is it? Org.jommel. So if we go down to O, org, Apache, skip all the Apache stuff. Org, JetBrains, Jline. It is there. Jommel. Org.jommel. Matrix, matrix, matrix. See, there is vector classes, look. So I should be able to do a vector for F. But it's not working. Which is weird. Very interesting. I don't know. I don't know why that's not working. Wait, have I imported something already or something? Maybe. Vector 4F. Oh, there you go. Okay, whatever. Can I do Vec 4D? I can. It's just not showing up in the IntelliJ import thing, I guess. That's weird, but it is there, so I don't know why IntelliJ is doing that. But I'll take it. So Vec 4D, and then yeah, I think you're meant to use the methods, but I guess it doesn't really matter. Put these in the right order, because otherwise that's going to piss me off. Should we do a Vec 6? Does a Vec 6D exist, or no? Ideally it does, that'd be great. I don't think it does. No, it doesn't. No. The only thing I could use then would be like I couldn't even really use a matrix. I mean, I guess I kind of could, but it'd be a bit jank, wouldn't it? Okay. Well, Vec 4D is fine anyways. Okay, so that applies that, and then if we go back to here, this needs to be a vector 4D. And this needs to be a vector 4D, which needs to be at link. No, you do it like this, don't you? At link. No, at link. Vector 4D. You can do a matrix 3x2. Yeah, I guess that would work. Do they have a matrix 3x2? D? They do. That's great. Okay, how did these work? I forgot. So M00, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. Okay, so we need then the double max. That. Boom. Yeah, I could probably just inline those. You're right. Okay. Let's put them in as well, also before that, because otherwise that's weird. Oh, I can't. I see, because it's based on the. I see. Okay. So now that can become a matrix 3x2, and then. Why is it not letting me do the set max? I don't even know if this is correct, by the way. Oh, that's the height. Why is it trying to do the height? Width. Height. Okay, why is it not liking this? Okay, it really doesn't like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this needs to be 0, 1. Is that right? 1, 10, 11, 20, 21. 1, 10, 11, 20, 21. There you go. Okay. Matrix. What was it? 3 by 2D? Is that right? Yeah, okay. Oh, wait. I think I know why it was getting confused. Because, oh no, it is called window sizes. Okay, I don't know why it was doing that. Anyways. 0, 1, 10, 11, 20, 21. Yeah, okay, good. So, if we run it now, should see that it works. Hopefully. In theory. Fingers crossed, people. So that opens fine, and then that opens, yeah, to be the correct size. This needs some V-grow, but that's fine. And then it'll basically max out at that size, in theory. If I try and go, yeah, I can't bring it any further to the left. You guys will have to trust me that yeah, you can see I can't. So that's fine. Okay. Yeah, this needs some V-grow. So let's go ahead and give that, because otherwise it's going to be a bit weird. So what are we looking for? We're looking for the empty thingy. This needs to be VBox.set V-grow. Priority.always. I wish I could hotspot in JavaFX. It really pisses me off that I can't. Oh, it didn't like something. Config is null? Wait, why is it writing? Why is it writing? How is it writing? Wait, what? I'm so confused. Is it because I already have... It must be because I already have a configuration in there, right? And it must just be like what the fuck is happening? I assume. Like, it just doesn't know what to do. Because it sees that configuration doesn't have a UUID, I'm guessing. So if I now go... I can't even find my friggin'... Am I blind? I can't even find my Minecraft folder. Yep, I am blind. Okay, good. Well, not good, but yeah. Okay, let me edit this. In fact, I'm just going to delete the file. That'll save me some time. Okay, let's run it again. Okay, so what? Right, run configurations. Where are you being called? Here. Pistol configurations to add listener. Change right run configuration. But there isn't any configurations. I'm so confused. Oh. Oh. Okay, I just big brained. I just figured it out. It's because in here, not here, in here, in the combo box, you see here, I set the items. That actually, like, physically, like, they become interchangeable, basically. So what I'm doing then is I'm calling add null, which means what it's doing is adding an element to that list, so it thinks, oh, a new item's added, so it writes it to the file, and that doesn't work because it's adding null. So that's kind of really annoying, because I was really hoping I could do that. So what I will have to do is I will have to wrap this in a new array list. Like that. It actually doesn't like when you do that though, so I'll have to wrap it in fx collections dot observable. I guess I can do observable array list, sure. Sure, that's fine. And then basically I'll have to add a listener to this. Right, so I'll have to say add listener, change, selected. It sets them all. Yeah, but it can't. Oh yeah, I can use get items.settle. Wait, can you? Yes, you can actually. So that would actually work if I did that instead. So instead of doing set items, I do get items dot set all, and then I don't have to create this stupid new array list. I can just do it like that. And then it adds the null one. If selected is not null and it contains selected, then it sets that as the value, else it just selects the first. Yes, that will be fine. Okay. So let's try again. Try and close some things as well, but we don't need open. What was that, actually? There was a warning in here. Remove. Oh, that's fine. Don't care. Okay. Let's see. Seems to be working. Okay, so now what we need to do is we need to make it so pressing this run button and then clicking on one of these will actually go ahead and now change this entire view, right, to be a split pane. On the left, we'll have the tree view, and then on the right, we will have the details. Basically what we had before, but without the jank, hopefully. I'd also like to create a hyperlink here. So where it says use the plus button to add your first configuration, I'd like to change that to say something like click here to create your first configuration, and it will go straight to basically this menu. I think that'd be pretty nice to have, but that's a quality of life thing. It's not too important. We can do that later on. So I think the next thing is just the tree view. Now the tree view is going to be a real pain in the butt, but I think I'm going to cheat with it, and we're going to get Copilot to do it, because we have to set up like we have to be able to set up folders as well. Because for example, if you go in IntelliJ, you can see in here that you can create folders, right? And you can have, you actually can't have folders inside folders, apparently. I didn't know that. That's interesting. And you can actually delete the folder without deleting the item inside of it. That's interesting. That might be a little bit too complicated, but we'll see. That's actually really interesting, because that suggests to me that the run configuration itself maybe would store a folder. Another thing that I want to do actually whilst I'm here is make this a class, not a record, and then ditch the name. So just like get rid of the name. because the name is stored in the data. And that's where it has to be, because it has to be part of the form. So it has to be in the data. And it has to be modifiable as well. So that has to go by byes. That has to go by byes as well. And that. Yeah, we can just use equals and hash code and toString for those. So we can do @equals and hash code and @toString. We'll just generate those for us. And I'm not going to make this a record. Okay, first of all, let's add some documentation whilst we're here. Okay. Because otherwise I'll forget, and then Yoda will moan at me when I try to PR this, telling me to add documentation. So I'm just going to do it now so that I can kind of just forget about it. That needs to go as well. This needs to have documentation. This doesn't need documentation because this is private. So I will also put that at the bottom of the class. And these should not be at the bottom of the class. These should be probably at the top of the class, like that. They could probably also be replaced with a getter, but I think that's fine for now. Not too important. Okay, that's fine. And then that's our private method as well. Okay. Yes, the reason I don't want this to be a record is because I also want to store a folder in here. So a private string folder. I mean, I could store like a folder path, which would allow us to have nested folders. I don't think that's really necessary, though. I don't know. I'm kind of 50-50 on that, actually. I'm not sure. I don't know. One thing I will need to note is, yeah, this is going to error because this now needs to be configuration.data.getName. And this needs to be configuration.data.getName. There you go. Okay, and I think that should be it. I don't think there should be anything else, but yeah, we'll have to come back to that later. Yeah, so then we can have a folder path like that, and then we can do folder path. By default, it won't have one, but we can also have a set folder path. And it's worth noting that this shouldn't be null. So we should probably have like an object require non-null. Like that. Yeah. That's fine. Okay. Okay. I mean, we could add Java docs to these. And there isn't much point, but I guess we can do it anyways. Get it done. There you go. Okay. And folder path, yeah. Fine. And then this does technically throw a null pointer exception, so we should probably have that in here. And just say like, hey, this throws a null pointer exception if folder path is null. Okay. So now we can ask Big Man ChatGPT. And let's ask it, can you make... Oh, I should probably start up Codex. There we go. Can you make the tree view for the run configuration editor pane. The tree view should have a folder for each folder, in quotation marks, for each run configuration type, which I'm actually going to do like run configuration type. And inside each of these will list the run configurations, and those will exist inside folders represented by run configuration folder path. Okay. This will need to be hooked up to the run configuration editor pane so that when the selected item changes to a non-null value, the tree view will be placed inside a split pane, which replaces the empty state pane. When the selected item, or we should say if the selected item is to change back to a null value, the opposite should happen. Let's see if it can do it. I think I've given it a very descriptive thing for what it needs to do. It should be able to do it. But let's see. Okay, so right now it's just trying to understand the things I've referenced, I think. Which is fine. Oh, it's trying to understand about the details pane as well. But I'm not going to tell it to do that right now, because I don't think that's necessary. We can do that ourselves. Okay, it's still trying to understand the details part. So that's fine. It might go ahead and actually add the details pane, or at least it might put like some template pane in there for now, maybe, is what I'm guessing. But let's see. I mean, effectively, all it needs to do, and I don't know if it will do it or not, is it needs to look at the existing Project Explorer pane, right? Also, I don't know what this is. I don't know why that's there. Let's delete that, and then let's also delete the thread dump, because those shouldn't be there. Don't know where those have come from. I was trying to look for the name. Did I actually get rid of all the name references? I probably should have checked that first, shouldn't I? Yeah, I didn't. Oops. That might actually completely fuck it up. Because it's going to find that and it's going to be like, what the hell? Oh dear. Oh yeah, I really kind of scuffed that up, huh? Configuration dot data dot get name data dot get name data dot get name. Okay, hopefully it's still trying to do stuff. That's fine. Get name go. Data.getName. Data.getName. I probably should have told it that. In fact, I'm going to do that real quick. Oh shit, it's already started to do things. Okay, what's it doing right now though? Hopefully it's not touching anything. Oh, okay. That's scary. Let me quickly just... Ah, no, I can't disable the approvals. Okay. We're just gonna have to ignore that and hope it doesn't fuck anything up. I was hoping I could stop it from being able to do things, but apparently I cannot. So we're gonna have to hope that that it works. Data.getName. Okay, that's pretty much all of them. The only last one is this, which needs to be data.getName. Okay. And I should be able to build now. Okay, yeah, that's fine. Okay, we're safe, guys. We're safe. We managed to save it before. I don't think it'll be too confused now. And we can actually have a look as well. Okay, the only issue I see is that it has kind of just stuffed it all into that. Wait, has it? What has it even done? Yeah, it's like kind of just stuffed it all into the editor pane class. So I'll probably tell it afterwards to move it into its own class. Okay, it has actually given me something that compiles, which is a little bit surprising because usually, or let's just say quite often, it doesn't do that. Okay, it's making some methods and stuff. That's fine. Okay, I think what we'll do is we'll try what it's given me. And then if that works, then what we will do is we will ask it to put it into its own class. Because obviously we don't need this to be a 430 line class. That's not necessary. Now I am curious what it's done in terms of the details pane, because it can't give us a split pane that is empty on the right. So what has it actually done? Editor split pane. Create editor split pane. Okay, it just sets it to an empty content pane. Interesting. And then it's got a split pane. And then it's detail content container, which is what? Stack pane. Okay, I'm gonna need to have a look at what it's done. It might have completely fucked it up, if I'm understanding that right, because that doesn't sound right. Yes, it has. It's completely fucked it up. That's not what I asked it to do. I mean, the thing is, I don't hate what it's done. I kind of understand why it's done that. I just don't think that's necessarily what it should be doing. Yeah, I don't think that's what it should do. Okay. I want it so that if there is no configurations, the split pane won't be there. It should only split if there are configurations present. Okay, it should be able to figure that out. That shouldn't be too much of a problem for it. It's basically just a matter of like reverting what it had, right? Or reverting some of what it had. So it should be able to do that. Okay, it is a little bit confused by the looks of it though, because it's a little bit stuck. Hopefully it becomes unstuck. Okay, I'm gonna close some things because I have a lot of things open right now. And I don't need all of these things open. And it's getting on my nerves. So close that, that's better. Okay. So what's it saying? Okay. I'm just gonna trust that it's doing it right. I think this looks fine. At a quick glance, it looks what it's doing. Looks like what it's doing is fine. Yeah, because it's adding a listener when the configurations change. Okay, I think that's actually it. I thought it would have to do a little bit more than that, but we'll have a look. So, let's bring this over here. Okay, let's go. Okay, better. So now if I press Gradle task, okay, now that brings up the split pane. If I remove it, it's gone. Okay, that's good. That's a really good start. That's a really, really good start. Okay, fantastic. For the next step, I'm going to ask it to move the tree view into its own class. So can you move the tree view related stuff into its own class so it doesn't clutter the configuration thing too much. Okay. That should be trivial. That should be a trivial task for it to do. And then once it's done that, we can go ahead and create the details pane, which shouldn't be too bad, hopefully. We're going to just hook on to the exact same things that the tree view does. So it should be possible. Let's see. Okay. Okay, so here it goes. It's now created the file. And then it's just the deleting that hopefully it doesn't fuck up on. Because if it leaves something there that isn't meant to be there, then that could possibly break things. So I need to have a look. It hasn't done anything yet. And bear in mind, this is a massive file, right? So it's going to take it a minute to just go through the entire thing. Oh, it's actually going to do step by step. Fair enough, that's fine. Although, admittedly, removing the imports is a bad idea because IntelliJ might try and add them back. Okay, I'm not going to click on IntelliJ until it's done, because otherwise IntelliJ will try and do shit that I don't want it to do. Okay, is it done? I think it's done, right? Oh no, it's got to remove that rebuild method, actually. Okay. It is almost done, though. Come on. You can do this. If it can do this, this will actually save it a huge amount of time. So, I hope it can. Although it seems like it's actually really struggling for some reason. I don't know why. It's now doing Python. Why is it doing Python? Okay, no more errors. There are some warnings though, but those are just because the empty loops, I think. Yeah, okay. So, hopefully, we can go into here, and there won't be any errors. Correct. Okay, let's fix these with a record pattern real quick. Clean that up a little bit. Let's just go through and just see what it's done. That can be not empty, that's fine. That can be a record as well, that's fine. And everything else is fine. This can be a switch statement, can't it? Yeah, it can. Thought so. And okay. I assume it's done now. Yes, it is. So, password to extract OK button from a long surrounding method. That's true. That is probably something we might want to do. But just not right this second. Okay, let's run that and check that that is still exactly the same as it was. Because we don't want to, we want to make sure that hasn't like broken anything. So let's go edit, add new Gradle task, and then I should be able to also add a folder, but I suspect that doesn't work right now. But the more important thing is that, yeah, that I can add multiple basically, which I can. So that's good. Okay. All good. Delete, 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 delete. Done. Okay. Good. There are some errors though. Don't know exactly what they are about though. I'm gonna give it this error and see if we can figure out where this has come from. I'm not sure where this has come from. Because there's nothing in the stack trace that points back to the code, so I don't know how it's going to figure out where that's come from. But anyways, whilst it's doing that, we can go ahead and now create our details pane. So let's have a look at exactly where it's done that. So it's added a listener here, and that does update editor content, which adds the details pane. So that's just create details pane. And right now that's just a placeholder. Is that correct? Is it just a placeholder? I actually didn't look at what was on the right, to be honest. So I can have a look. Add. Okay, it is just a blank pane. But that is actually correct then. It has actually put something there. Okay, that's good, because that means we can now go ahead and actually create something that should actually go there, which will be the editor pane. What has it changed? It has actually changed something. Interesting. I'm curious what it's actually changed. Like, has what it's changed actually broken anything, I guess is the question. Let's have a look. Okay. Right, this like font size stuff is so weird. Okay. That has actually fixed it. I don't know what it did, but it has actually fixed it. That's interesting. I mean, that can still be that, but yeah, I don't know why that's indented. Yeah, I don't know. That was weird. But yeah, that's fine. Okay. I mean, we'll have to test folders afterwards because folders might not work, but yeah, we'll see. You know what? Let's see if we can save some time, shall we? Let's see if it can create the details pane. I'm going to quickly actually commit everything. Yeah, I'm going to commit everything. Just because I don't want it to, like, break anything. So, God, I mean, this is hard to commit because there's so much. Copilot can try and summarize it, but I don't think it's going to succeed. Yeah, it hasn't even remotely succeeded. Add core run configuration system. Before details. I will know what that means. It's just a commit message, anyways. It's not too important. I'm actually going to push it as well. Yeah, I'm going to push that just in case. Okay, can you create the details pane? It should use the form that is present in the data class to be able to data class. The form needs to be validated when the apply or OK buttons are pressed before before it actually applies. Oh, applies any changes. It should be fairly trivial because I've already done most of the work, right? Most of the work is actually the form itself. So all it actually has to do, it's actually kind of insanely simple. All it has to do is just create a VBox that the form goes inside of. That's it. That's literally it. And then the validation part will be a little bit more complicated, but fundamentally that's all implemented already because form literally has a validate method. So it will just call one of these. I don't know which one it will call. Maybe both. I think there's also an is valid. Is valid or something? Oh no. I guess validate actually does that. Right? Because oh no. Yeah, validate tells you whether it's valid or not. But it will also validate the form section as well. Which I think validate actually, yeah, that runs the validator. And then if you look at run validation, I think that's exactly the same. Oh no, run validation is what actually adds the styles. Yeah, I did want to do toast messages. I forgot about that. We don't have any kind of toast system yet. We'll need to do that at some point. Okay. What is it doing? Does this look right? Update detail content selected configuration.get. Okay. And then that gets the configuration form node. Okay. Right. Instead of the details pane. And then if it can't apply, then it returns. So that will be what runs the validation, I'm assuming. And then get configuration form node. So that gets the... What is this? Configuration form context. Don't know what that is. That's something it's created. That's just a form and a node. Interesting. Why though? I don't know why it's done that. We'll have to have a look in a second. Why has it done this again, bro? Does it not realize that these are the exact same things? It obviously must not realize that these are exactly the same thing. Which is kind of funny. Like, how does it not realize that? Surely that's obvious, right? I don't know. It's weird. I don't know why it's done that. Sometimes I like to mess with it and just do this whilst it's running because you know that it'll go back and check it before it finishes. And so it'll be like, what the fuck? Unexpected changes? Is it actually going to read it? Let's see. And we can have a look at as well in the Git to see what has changed. Yeah, I mean, it looks reasonable. Okay, I don't know why it's done that. That's unnecessary. Why has it done that? This is the kind of thing that AI really pisses me off about, because it does things like this, and it wastes so much time. Like, it doesn't need to do this. The order of the friggin' imports is, like, the least important thing. And it's just like... Oh no, there you go. It actually just ignored the fact that it didn't like it. Okay, I'll take that as a win. So what has it actually done? Let's have a look. Let's have a look. So instead of a VBox details pane, it's created a... interesting. So it's created a map of a UUID, which would be the configuration ID, to a form context. And a context is the form itself and the node. Okay, this is actually kind of smart. So previously I didn't have this, but I also kind of stored it all differently anyways. And then it just as a style class, that's fine. It updates the content. So what does that do? I mean, that's basically what it had before, but it just now updates it with a specific configuration instead. When the configurations are changed as a listener, and then if the change was removed, then it removes. Yeah. Okay, that's fine. And then updated the content, so we can now look at. Yeah, so this is basically what it had before. So if it can't apply the select changes, then it returns. This is where it actually creates the node. So it creates the form, creates the UI, sets the vgrow, creates a context, puts that in the map, returns the node, and then applying the changes gets the configuration. It then gets the context, it runs the validation, validates it, gets the form data, applies the form data. I mean, that looks correct. That all looks correct. So I guess the only way to find out if it is correct or not is to try it. So we'll do that. And hopefully, fingers crossed, it will have worked. So, add a Gradle task. Okay, good start, good start. So, it doesn't like the name. A configuration with this name already exists. Interesting. That's not true. Why does it think that's the case, though? Huh, I am curious now. Why does it think that's the case? So what I will do is I'm going to open the... Can I, I don't think I have... Oh, I do. Open an Explorer. I didn't know if we implemented that or not, but apparently we have. That's good. Oops, I just opened that in Blockbench. That's obviously not going to work. Okay, so if we edit in Notepad, we can see what's inside of it. It's actually empty, so I don't know why it thinks that's the case. Configuration with this name already exists. Interesting. Okay, well, regardless, we can set this to be Beans configuration. Okay, it still doesn't like that. That's very interesting. Let's do run client. Should we just try it and just like see? Apply? Okay. It actually just doesn't like it. Configuration with this name already exists. No, it doesn't though. Why does it think that's the case? Do we have like an error or something? No. Interesting. Okay, what we can do is we can look at the run configuration data class, and we can look at the code for the duplicate. So if we come in here, so if is duplicate name, oh, this needs to be any match. It's inverted, of course. That's why. Okay, let's try again. Yeah, because previously that was inverted. The entire method was inverted. But yeah, that's correct. Okay, so let's create a Gradle task. Okay, so now that is correct. I'm still going to rename it to Beans configuration though. Question, if I apply, will that update in here? I don't think it will, but I'm curious. Okay, it actually doesn't let you apply it because there's a warning. And now it doesn't like this. What? Oh, so it did apply it. Okay, it did apply it. Interesting. Oh. Okay, what I need to do is I need to check that the UUID is not equal to the given UUID, right? So I need to pass in the exclude UUID. Sure, I guess that's fine. Yeah, and then basically that will exclude the UUIDs from the chat. So I'll say, sure, I think that's probably correct what it's done there actually. Yeah. So if we find usages now, we can now also pass in the do we have the run configuration anywhere in here? Under create? No. Yeah, that's a problem, huh? Because we don't have the run configuration. That's a real bugger, huh? Where is this called? I guess is the question. Like, do we have access to... no, we do not. Okay, where is this called? Aha! We do have it. We can pass the configuration in there. We can add that as a second parameter. This can be... run configuration of D, I think. I think that's fine. Not D. Oh. Yeah, I guess technically that's like that. Okay, I need to refactor, change signature, and change it to question mark. Like that. Factor. Okay, and then that should fix all of the implementations. And then all I need to do is now in here. Yeah, so where this is called, this now needs to take in configuration. And then we should be able to add that in refactor. Okay, and then what we can do is we can do configuration.uuid. So doing that should now mean that it should work in theory. So it should now exclude the current UUID, is the theory. Which is what we're about to find out. So, oh. Did it not save? Ooh. Interesting. It hasn't loaded the UUID. or the run configuration. Interesting. Has it thrown an error? No. That's interesting. That's going to be an issue with the IDE setup as well. So if we look at this, it does get configurations, but it should have read them though. I'm not sure why it wouldn't have read them. Let's plonk a breakpoint there and then run in debug mode, and then we can see what happens. Because it's obviously for some reason not reading them, and I don't know why that would be the case. That's quite weird, so we can try and figure that out. Oh. Okay. That's not what I expected it to do, I'll be honest. Okay. So it creates an array like that, or a list, I mean, and then it does from JSON. It gets the UUID, gets the type, which resolves the type. The type is null. Oh. Oh. Okay, you guys can't see this, but it's actually, it's right. So it's basically loading the projects really early. Like, we're still in the, yeah, I can't show you guys this because it's, can I drag this window across? No, because it doesn't have a, but basically it's in the booting stage, right? So we're still on the preloader screen. So the issue here is actually, funny enough, the order of these. Basically this is way too late. It needs to be before loading configuration. So it needs to be really early, pretty much. Because loading configuration is when it loads the projects. So that's when it creates the projects, right? So that registry needs to be valid before it creates and loads the projects. So I shouldn't need to breakpoint that now because that should now work. If we go ahead and run it again, should give us, oh, uh-oh, it's gone. Project is gone. Let's run it again, I guess. Nope, it's just gone. Has it given an error? No? Interesting. I'm gonna try and find the, I'm gonna app data / railroad. Oops. Yeah, that one. And then if we have a look at the config, or yeah, config, I think. We should, yeah, it's actually just gone. It's yeeted itself. That's kind of funny. I guess because it was trying to load it and mid-loading it failed, so it wipes it from the JSON, I guess. Yeah, I don't know exactly why that happened, but yeah, I see the issue. Okay, I'm going to open the project back up, and I'm going to open the same one back up so that we can hopefully see that fix itself. So I'm going to have to just find it real quick. Programming Java Minecraft 1.21 tutorial mod, select. Okay, so here we go. We're back. And okay, the configuration is here. Okay, good. And if I do that, it doesn't care. It doesn't care that it's the same because it's the same configuration, right? So that's fine. Now, hopefully I can put this in a new folder. Well, obviously not right now because I haven't hooked up that button, but that should work later on. Let's try run client, and let's try press OK. And should we try and press the run button? Okay, first of all, I want to see if that's saved. It did. Okay, good. Let's try and run it. Okay, now nothing's going to show up in the IDE because we don't have a console window. So build file line 2, unknown plugin. Interesting. Interesting. Unknown plugin, Fabric Loom 1.6. So that could be an issue with the tutorial mod, or it could be an issue with the Gradle build. Let's try just do it in terminal and see what happens. So if I go E, C drive programming, C drive Java, IDE Minecraft, IDE 1.21. I think it's 1.21 tutorial. No, yeah, this one. That's the one. And then if we do Gradle run client, yeah, see, that's worked. So maybe Gradle build doesn't work. So I think it has to do a build first. No, that's working. Interesting. Maybe it's because it can't read the settings.gradle. I don't think that makes sense though, does it? I mean, if we open the build.gradle file here, yeah, I mean, these should all be fine. We open the settings.gradle. I reckon it's not reading the settings. It has to be though, because it searched maven.fabricmc.net. It's weird that it hasn't found that though. Should we try and run it again, maybe? I'm going to run it on my other monitor and you guys can see it come up in the console. Okay, that's better. Okay, this is really weird showing up in the console because it's so jank. But it does actually seem to be working. Maybe? I mean, it's doing something, right? I'm waiting to see Minecraft just pop up on my screen, but I'm not convinced it's going to happen, guys, I'm going to be honest. I mean, it has to, right? It's running it. Like, it's running the Gradle. So, it has to be doing something. I reckon it's just not, like, printing correctly or something. Like, I think it must be doing stuff. And it's just not printing, like, the exact task it's doing or something. So if we give it a moment, it might actually, it might work. I'm starting to think this isn't going to work. But if it doesn't work, I have no idea why, to be clear. Like, I actually have no idea why, if this doesn't work. I'm curious, like, no, nothing seems to be happening. I don't know why it's doing this. How long do I let it run for, chat? How long do I let it run for before I decide it's not working? I mean, it shouldn't take more than, like, 5 minutes, but I don't want to wait 5 minutes. Like, it's obviously... Well, like, I want to say it's obviously stuck, but I guess it's not obviously stuck. Like, it seems to suggest it's doing something. Okay. Once it gets to 30 seconds, okay, I'm going to stop it. Because it's obviously not working. I don't know why. Let's try run it in terminal and see if we get the same result or not. No, so that instantly just boots up, right? Oh, interesting. Or actually, like... Huh. So it was actually trying to do something by the looks of it. But yeah, like, look. That has actually... That one's worked, right? So let me try run it one more time. In your opinion, how hard is it to make an MC mod with no knowledge? I mean, it depends what you mean by no knowledge. do you literally mean like no knowledge, or do you mean like what is your definition of no knowledge? I mean, that's the question, right? See, that's got further. Oh, it's actually, it isn't, no, it is doing stuff. Go to create temporary file. Access denied. What? Okay, but so confused. It's doing things, but I don't know what it's doing. Is it maybe just like not running as like admin or something? Like, what the hell is this? Failed to request the public key. Failed to read from public keys due to unrecognized Windows sockets error. Like, what? And then it just crashes. I run it again? If it says the same thing or not? No. Interesting. Also, cannot stop this executor from an executor thread. Interesting. Cancellation.close, and that's being called here, which is being called here. Oh, I see. Interesting. First of all, I'm gonna see if I can get... I don't know how to fix that. So I'm gonna see if I can get ChatGPT to fix that, first of all. And then... I don't really know about this. I mean, that's use build distribution, which means that uses the Gradle.properties. Maybe there's like, yeah, embedded isn't a thing. Maybe like, I don't know. Use no. It's not going to be something with like the connection. I mean, could it be something with the build, maybe? Java home, no. Maybe, no. Oh, wait, what's it done? Oh, I see. Yeah, that makes sense. So it's just plonk that inside of an executor. So close handle now runs that executor like that. That makes sense because, yeah. Okay, that's fine. Let me just do, there you go, so that's a little more readable. But that will work now. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. Not look up profiles, unrecognized Windows socket, like some really weird errors. Visiting this URL does not bring me anything. I don't know if it should bring me anything. Interesting. What does that say? Fail to read from that. Caused by Windows socket error. It must be something to do with the Gradle runtime or something. I'm getting some weird errors causing the Gradle tasks to fail. This is one of them. I don't get this error when I run value run client directly in a terminal, but when I use the Gradle run configuration type, I do. Can you help me figure out why? I think it's Control J. There you go. I presume you need to like set some... I really don't know, to be honest. I've never experienced this before. Even when I made a mod loader, I didn't have this problem. I was able to just... I guess that's slightly different because you're... Yeah, I mean, I guess that's slightly different, but I don't think that should be the issue. Oh, it's because there's no environment variables? The tooling wiped your environment. Well, I hope it hasn't wiped my environment. Okay, it hasn't. Okay. Good job it hasn't actually wiped my environment, because that would be really bad. Can you ensure that is correct across all the configuration types? Okay. So what has it done? It's I assume that's in the data class that it's done that, right? Yeah, so I mean there, basically. But I mean that's fine, right? Okay, I'm gonna stop this. But that makes sense. The fact that there would be no environment variables, I assumed it would just automatically do that. Okay, it hasn't changed anything. Other configuration types use process builder, which inherits. Okay, I see. That makes sense. So the other ones use process builder, and process builder automatically preserves the system environment variables. So that's why. Okay, so if we now go ahead and run it, hopefully we should get Minecraft starting up. Fingers crossed. Come on. Come on. Hey! Okay. So we can now run Minecraft with Railroad. That is a success. And you know, we can actually do things, and it technically gets logged to the console, even though it's a bit weird. Yeah. Boom. So from now on, I can record all the tutorials in Railroad. No, I'm obviously not going to do that. That would be chaos, but... Oh, I guess you guys actually haven't seen this yet, because I haven't released the entity tutorial. I should probably do that at some point. But yeah, that's technically worked. That's good. That's really good. Okay, I'd really like to get that in the console in Railroad, but that's kind of hard, I think. Yeah. And we are kind of out of time for this stream, unfortunately. Yeah, I think console's kind of tricky because... Yeah, the console would be quite tricky to do. I mean, we can do that at some point, but it'll be tricky because we have to allow for, like, input and stuff. But only sometimes. You only allow for input when it requires input. So that's kind of a hard thing to do. We'll come back to that at some point in the future. But I think that's it for this stream. That's pretty good progress, guys. I'll be honest. We have run configurations now. We can officially run Minecraft, right? We can choose a JDK. We can choose environment variables. We can give it names. We can add new configurations. We can delete configurations. Between now and the next stream, I'm going to implement the copying, adding folders, editing. I think this is actually renaming. I should probably change that to the rename icon. And I'm going to probably just get the other ones working because there's a couple minor issues with some of the other ones that make it not work. And then, honestly, like, this is probably going to get a PR by the time of next stream. And then next stream, I think... I don't know what we're going to do next stream, to be honest. It depends if this is done or not, I suppose. If this is done, then we're probably going to work on the console in the IDE. So that'll be this window down here. we'll probably work on that. If it's not done, then obviously we'll keep working on run configurations, because we have a little bit of work to do here. This is just a little bit janky. Yeah, like this doesn't even work. You can't even click on that, and like it's in a weird thing. I mean, I should be able to get that to work between now and the next stream, but I think that's okay. Debug mode, obviously, that's a later date thing. That requires the entire IDE debugger, so we'll come back to that in the far future. Pinning as well, I'm going to need to do that at some point. I don't know how that's going to work. I don't know. I guess that probably won't be too bad. Also, I shouldn't be able to interact with the ID whilst I'm in this window, so I'll need to fix that as well. But yeah, next stream we're probably going to be working on the console. If I had to make a guess, we'll probably work on the console. And I mean, hopefully the console will take one stream, is my hope. I don't think it'll be too hard. I think it'll probably take about one stream. And then if it does, then the stream after will work on the Gradle tab on the right. So that we can actually just directly run a Gradle task from the Gradle tab, rather than having to go in here, create a new configuration, set the task, add a name, you know. If we could just click on the Gradle tab, double click the task, that would be amazing, right? That would be a massive step in Railroad, really. So hopefully that's the plan for next week. So usual time, Saturday, Sunday, 7 p.m. GMT or UTC, however you want to say it. So I'm going to end it here, and I will see you all next week. Goodbye.